evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Sharice Gibson.
And I'm Katie Moore. 3 attorneys are running for Orleans Parish Criminal Court judge on March 25th.
And the candidate with the most money and endorsements admits that she made some legal mistakes.
Yeah, as eyewitness investigator David Hammer explains, Diedre Pierce Kelly's own missteps could impact how the voters judge her.
This video shows 75-year-old Fred Maness signing his will on July 7, 2009. In the document, Maness promised $10,000 cash, all his personal property, use of his Marigny home, and $1,200 a month for life to a man who claimed he did everything for him, a man named Gary Findell. Findell posted this video to YouTube. Why? Because there's something very wrong here. Maness's will says it was notarized, made official and binding in the presence of a notary, political consultant and criminal defense attorney Ike Spears. But as the video shows, the will was not signed by Spears, but by this clerk who worked for Spears, Diedre Pierce Kelly. Kelly later admitted under oath that she forged Spears' signature on Maness's will, claiming she didn't realize at the time that it was illegal. In fact, she admitted notarizing other documents with Spears' signature maybe one other time, too. And later, after first claiming not to remember, and after she had to submit handwriting samples to investigators, she admitted to the court that she even forged Spears' signature to her own Louisiana bar application so she could practice law in the state. In 2015, Kelly agreed to be suspended from practicing law for a year and a day for what she did. Now, 8 years later, she's asking voters to elect her judge in Orleans Parish Criminal Court.
When you're talking about doesn't know the law and not trustworthy, that's an incredible combination to be seeking to become judge.
Defense attorney Gary Wainwright ran against Kelly for judge in 2020 and challenged her qualifications. He was successful because her suspension kept her from logging enough time as a practicing lawyer to qualify to be a judge. But now she's been a licensed lawyer for more than 10 years. Wainwright isn't running this time, and he knows he can't stop Kelly from running. Instead, he hopes the voters will reject her because of her record.
And I just don't know that a person who's an admitted forger should have access to legal documents that have to do with persons' imprisonment.
That hasn't stopped Kelly from getting the full-throated support of most of the city's political establishment, including City Councilman Oliver Thomas, who made Kelly his chief of staff.
Much of what you see me do in terms of my outreach, the success we've had in one of the most difficult districts, is because of my work with Diedre Pierce Kelly.
Thomas likens Kelly's journey to his own redemption story. He came back and won election after serving more than 2 years in prison for taking a bribe.
I've made mistakes. We're all going to make more mistakes. But how do you rise up in spite of it? We should be celebrating this young woman, not using politics to put her down. That was some time ago. And I think she's answered it with her life, to be honest with you, with the work that she's done.
Kelly has not addressed her record head-on the way Thomas has. She declined to give interviews in 2020 and again this year, offering Thomas instead to speak on her behalf.
You've interviewed some of the most innocent people who may not seem innocent because of the pressure of the lights and the camera. And some people are truly embarrassed by their mistakes.
Kelly has never been charged with a crime. She testified in 2015 that the district attorney questioned her about the forgeries and decided not to pursue any felony charges against her. But her actions did have consequences, especially for Gary Findell. In 2012, just days before Maness died in hospice, court records show LSU Foundation officials met with Maness and convinced him to change his will to give most of his property to the foundation. Findell argued in court that Maness was not of sound mind at the time, but LSU countered that the earlier will was null and void, all because Kelly had forged the notarial signature. Judge Sidney Cates agreed, and Findell was left with a lot less. David Hammer, Eyewitness News.
Findell and Spears did not return messages seeking comment. Kelly declined to be interviewed, as David mentioned, but she did issue a written statement saying she made a mistake and shares that with the kids that she mentors. Quote, "Since that time, I went on to graduate from law school, pass the bar. Also, I have been a practicing attorney without blemish ever since. Serving and fighting for our community while mentoring our youth with my own personal story about responsibility and redemption."